Professor Time. The desert vanishes in white. Professor Time. One instant I'm squinting through the slit windows of the Trinity control bunker, then a sheet of light devours the horizon. It's not sunrise, it's like someone peeled back the sky itself. Instruments around me spike to their limits, needles slamming hard against the glass as if trying to escape. I throw a gloved hand over my eyes, but the glow burns straight through my eyelids. For a heartbeat, everyone in the bunker is a black silhouette frozen in mid-flinch. Professor Time. Then the world remembers to breathe. The white fades to searing orange, and I blink spots of color back into focus. I can already feel the heat, even from miles away, crawling through the concrete, pressing against the bunker walls. Someone behind me whispers, "It worked," but their voice is swallowed by the ringing in my ears. Professor Time. The thunder arrives late. Professor Time. A wall of sound slams into the bunker like a giant's fist. The air shudders, dust explodes from the ceiling in brown clouds. Metal chairs skitter across the floor, papers spiral up in a blizzard, and a stack of logbooks topples onto my boots. The concrete under my feet flexes, just enough to remind me that we are not nearly as safe as we pretended. Professor Time. General Groves roars over the chaos. "Check the structure, check the data. Nobody leaves their station." He's broad-shouldered and immovable in the half-dark, gripping the edge of a console as if he could hold the entire bunker together by willpower alone. Technicians scramble back to their scopes, brushing dust from dials, shouting readings at one another. Professor Time. I grab the nearest console, steadying myself as a second, smaller shockwave ripples through. Oppenheimer stands near the back wall, eyes locked on the blazing horizon, lips moving without sound. I've seen that look on explorers staring into deep caves and surgeons over open hearts, triumph wrestling with dread. Professor Time. That's when I notice the numbers are wrong. Professor Time. Oscilloscopes still flicker with the after image of the blast. Pressure gauges, neutron counters, and timing traces sketch jagged mountains of ink across fresh paper. I've studied these curves in my own time. The official Trinity records, the declassified plots. I know the shape of this history, but here, now, the peaks are a little too sharp. The rise is a little too fast. Professor Time. My stomach knots. The implosion seems to have come dangerously close to runaway, a yield higher than anything the textbooks ever hinted at. History says Trinity was terrifying. These traces say it almost became unthinkable. Professor Time. I remind myself why I came. Professor Time. I'm Professor Time, a historian with a very unusual field trip pass. I've stepped into burning cities, lost jungles, and silent plague wards, but few moments are as delicate as this one. July 1945, the Jornada del Muerto Desert. The world's first full-scale nuclear detonation, the birth cry of the atomic age. And if I'm right, the next chapter in the story of the hidden hand I uncovered back in 1928. Professor Time. Around me, this bunker is packed with the minds that pushed us here. Oppenheimer, the theoretical architect, shoulders sagging under the weight of what his equations have done. Groves, the military engine, obsessed with beating Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan to the ultimate weapon. Dozens of scientists and engineers, some giddy, some pale, clutching clipboards as if they were life vests. Professor Time. They believe they're racing enemies they can see. I'm here because of an enemy they can't. Professor Time. As technicians reset their instruments, I glance at a chalkboard covered in circles and arrows, a rough sketch of the gadget. 2 hemispheres of plutonium squeezed inward by explosive lenses, like a steel fist closing around a snowball. That's the implosion design, far trickier than the simpler gun-type uranium bomb planned for Hiroshima. Professor Time. In plain language, you take plutonium, which goes wild if you just mash pieces together, and instead you crush it evenly from all sides in a perfect nanosecond timed hug. Do it right, and the core becomes supercritical in a flash, splitting atoms in a runaway chain reaction. Tiny differences in timing or shape, fractions of microseconds, millimeters, can double the energy or make it fizzle. Professor Time. My eyes flick from the chalk lines to the still smoking paper traces. The curves suggest the core here was too efficient, as if someone tuned the geometry just beyond what these scientists thought was possible. Professor Time. And that sends my thoughts racing back 17 years, Professor Time. In 1928, I'd chased rumors of impossible medicine, organs that healed too fast, soldiers that didn't stay dead. In a hidden lab, I found bioengineered horrors and a strange iridescent alloy laced through their machines. Patterns in the math and metal that didn't belong to any known scientist. I stopped one experiment, but I never found the architect. I called them the Hidden Hand. Professor Time. Now, as the first nuclear fireball claws its way into the sky, I realize the same invisible fingers may be curled around this bomb as well.